So I doubt I'm the only one who's experienced anything like this, but I would like to get a discussion started about it. Every once in a while, I'll dream about being in a specific location. However, that location is always the exact same place. And beyond that, actually, there's about 4 locations in particular that I always end up dreaming about. Now, I don't dream about these places all the time. I do have other dreams besides these. However, they do pop up every so often. Now, I really wish I was an artist where I could sketch these places out, but I'm not, and if I even attempted to draw them, you would not be able to distinguish what they are. But what I can do is describe them with a lot of detail, because I dreamed about them quite a bit. Now keep in mind, these places do not exist anywhere on Earth. At least I don't think they do, because I've never been to any of them, and I haven't seen anything like them on the internet. But one of them in particular does have an echo of a place I have been before, but it's not the same place. I'll describe what that means later. Now the first one is the one that happens the most often. It's actually a hotel, and it's got like an Art Deco style to it, so if those who aren't familiar with what that is, it's kind of got like a rainbow shape to it, but it's not colored like a rainbow or anything, and it's actually really tall. It just has like that loop look, and there's a lot of glass that covers the front of the building. And then when you walk into the building, there's immediately a bar area. There's not a lobby or anything. You just walk in, there's a bar area that kind of sits on a lower level. And then in front of that bar, there's about maybe 10 dining tables. It's always full of people, always sitting there just eating, talking, almost kind of like your typical restaurant scene or bar scene. Then immediately to the left, there's a set of elevators that are completely just nothing but glass. And then when you step into these elevators, they're completely transparent, and then when you're going up, you can see out the front of the hotel. Now, I can't even tell you what city's out there. I never pay enough attention to that kind of detail. Now, when you ride these elevators, it immediately takes you to the first floor, and that's always where I end up getting off. I know that there's other levels, but for some reason I never go past that point. And then that level has 2 rooms, has one on the left and one on the right. And then they're just wooden doors, just basic wooden doors. And then when you walk into one of them, I can't really remember much past that point. But it's always the front lobby of that hotel is always what I remember. And that seems to be always what happens. It's just that whole scene that I just described to you. Nothing really significant ever happens beyond that point. Now the second one is a house. Now the way this house is laid out, it's got like gray siding on it. And it's kind of weird. It's like a hybrid between a normal house that you would see in a subdivision tied into a double-wide mobile home that kind of runs off the back of it. And then that double-wide mobile home doesn't have any screens. The windows are always open on it. And then when you walk into there, there's just a bunch of plants set up, almost like it's a greenhouse of some sort. And I remember there always being bugs in that room. But then when you walk into the house part of that whole setup, that's when it becomes a very comfortable home. You got a big gigantic bathroom in there. It's got a big bathtub in it. Got almost like golden tassels hanging around the inside of the whole bathroom. And you just got a standard living room with like maybe a TV or something. I never really pay much attention to the living room part because I'm always so enamored by that mobile home part that has all the plants set up. And for some reason in this dream, it's always dark outside. It's like a gray overcast, almost like it's getting ready to rain or storm. But it's always that look right there, and it baffles me what the meaning behind that one is. The third one is a beach setting, but it's not me sitting on the beach. It's another hotel, but I'm always on the balcony part of this hotel, big square. If anybody's ever been to Myrtle Beach, kind of like how the hotels there are laid out, where there's big squares, and then you got like the balconies on all the hotels, and you'll sometimes see people sitting on them and have their beach towels hanging off them. That's always how this is, but I always remember being just like on a lower level, and the beach is packed. I mean, it's full of people, and just like with the house one, it's always dark there, full of gray clouds. Looks like it's getting ready to storm, and the water is real dark. It almost is always kind of scary looking. But that's another one. I don't visit that one too often as much as I do the hotel or the house, but that's one of them also. Now the final one is the one that has the echo I was talking about. And the echo is that it seems like it's in the same location as where my high school was. The high school I actually went to. But the building is a whole lot different, and the way it's set up, it's like a university almost. And I don't know if it takes place in the future or what. I just remember it being the building is extremely hard to describe. Buildings are shaped almost like, if you've ever seen Star Wars and the way the buildings are shaped in Cloud City, that's kind of how it looks. It's kind of like that looping effect, but then it's got like an hourglass column in between the loop, and then there's like a bigger building on top, almost like a square, and then something that goes down to the ground. But I always remember flying around the building, so I don't know if I'm in a vehicle flying around it or what, but it's, like I said, it's set up like a university, so there's a ton of young people there, almost like students, but it's very strange. That's all I ever remember doing, is just flying around the building. That's usually what happens every time I dream about that place. Now I know scientifically maybe this is nothing to really think about too much, you know, maybe my brain is just reprocessing the same images over and over in my head while I sleep at night, but I like to think that, you know, there's some kind of theory behind it. You know, quantum physics talks about how there's all different types of realities and how all different possibilities have already happened. It's just a matter of experiencing them. I like to think that maybe those 4 locations that I dream about is probably myself in a whole nother universe somewhere, or a whole nother galaxy somewhere, experiencing those moments, and somehow when I'm sleeping I'm tapping into that. There's probably no absolute fact that can back that whole thing up, but that's a fun thought I like to have about it. But I'm really curious. I really want to know if anybody else has anything like this, if they've ever dreamed about the same location over and over, or if they have multiple locations like I do, and how do they affect you? What do you think they are? Let me know.